Okay, good. Can you see me? Good. So can you just confirm that you are able to hear Dr. Ruta, please?
Am I audible, dear? Good morning and happy Sunday.
Fantastic.
Okay.
That's really beautiful, and we've got humongous response as always. Good morning. Good morning, all. So if at all anything goes wrong in terms of the connectivity, or maybe if you're not able to hear us or see us, please just raise your hand or put something in the chat box. We'll be able to resolve it immediately. Good morning, everybody. Fantastic. So we are still 5 more minutes to go. We are expecting 100+ participants as of now. So where all are you from? Just, yeah.
Guru
Oman.
from Oman.
Great.
Alicia from Oman. Bhakti, Shruti, Uday.
Someone from Nashik.
Nashik.
A lot of people from Middle East. That makes us this webinar an international webinar again.
Shreyas from Oman.
Salala, Oman. Great. Simply wonderful. We are expecting some more participants. We have got 29 as of now. Let's hope all of them join us today. We've got 150+ registrations today, so that's an overwhelming response from everybody.
So fewer parents, fewer I think students,
Yeah.
and the persons who are going to decide their own career and planning their career. Am I right? David, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning.
Okay.
Good morning, Abhisha.
Good morning.
You are all like, budding, aspiring for your careers. So it's a wonderful morning today, and we're going to highlight some of the very intricate issues about how career planning is done. Few more minutes to go, a couple of minutes more to go. Expecting more participants coming in. So just a reminder, if you have questions, just put the questions in the question answer tab so that we'll be able to answer most of your questions at the end of the session, if not all. And interestingly, I would also be connecting to everybody. We'll also be connecting to everybody post the webinar. So feel free to ask questions and feel free to share your concerns and challenges regarding what to plan about your career. Yeah.
Parents are also there.
So really good. So Ruchir has put a question in the chat. To do one thing, Ruchir, put your post in the question answer tab, please. That'll help us to segregate the chat from the question answer tab. Yes, we've already crossed more than 52 attendance. So we're gonna go start in a minute or so now. Great. So we're gonna start now without any further delay. So welcome all in this beautiful Sunday morning. We're going to establish a very strong connection at the end of this webinar.
Namaskar.
And to aid to your service, we also have certain important things planned after the webinar. So it's a surprise you'll be getting in your emails after the webinar. Interestingly, this aspect of career planning, this topic of career planning is very close to heart to the students when they grow into their secondary schools or maybe higher secondary schools. And some of the other way, everybody, when he or she is in the late teenage, are wondering as what to do in their lives. Parents are equally concerned about how to channelize the abilities and interests of their kids, of their children, and how to navigate through the confusion and the information explosion that is happening all around us. So today, Brainberg Knowledge Solutions has brought to you this wonderful Planning Your Career session with me, Dr. Vishal. I'm a clinical psychologist. I'm a psychologist, and my colleague, Dr. Ruta Savarkar, who's a pediatrician. So she is the founder of Brainberg, and I'm the co-founder of Brainberg. So let's begin with the first very interesting understanding of what we have got to you. So I'm getting into the slide. Yeah. So why should you plan? Why should there be planning? And why is it inevitable for all of us to plan the journey? It is said in the planning arena that if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. And planning is an essential characteristics not only of we as a social being, but we as a biological being. Our prefrontal cortex here in the front of your head, the area which is involved in very sophisticated thinking, is always engaged in some of the other kind of planning all through the day, all through the week, all through the month. And to put in the words of a very famous cartoonist, Kevin Spear, sooner or later you'll have second thoughts about your action. Whatever you do, you look back and see, what have I done? Am I doing right or not? So to avoid this confusion, to avoid this messy thing that may come up in the near future after you take some decision, you must have a clear-cut purpose defined, that what are you doing, why are you doing, how are you doing. And the basics to this is, why are you doing? If you know why are you doing things, it is very easy to navigate through the hows and whats. In the other words of Nietzsche is a French philosopher, he says, if you have a why to live, you can do with almost anything and anyhow. So putting a why in your planning is most important thing. So planning is essential not only to elders who are working into organizations, but students who are channelizing their entire academic pursuits in a particular direction. Planning becomes an unavoidable thing. If you have that purpose, if you have that goal in your mind, it will be very easy for you to decide how and what. So today we are going to end up understanding why of the entire problem. If you have that why, if you have that pursuits to do with, you'll be able to look forward with more confidence, more optimism, more hope, and more clarity. So let's start with the fundamentals. What are the fundamentals? Fundamentals are some of the important things that predict your maybe financial prosperity to the finest, and it relates to your emotional attainment. So let's bring in Dr. Ruta to highlight certain important aspects of fundamentals of your planning in your kids and your relationship, maybe relationship with your parents and the kids, the vice versa thing.
Namaskar. Good morning.
Good morning and happy Sunday.
Coming to the fundamentals.
Coming to the fundamentals.
Now, let's understand and let's take a eagle's view.
And let's take a eagle's view.
Why we are here?
Why we are here?
Why
we are trying to plan our career? Do you think that career and professional life, these are the centers or focusing points of all our life? Are you clear about this? Okay. If you feel that financial prosperity is the ultimate goal, or gaining the name and fame and making an impression, and you should get the attention and you should be recognized. I am talking in a very positive ways. So if these are the goals of life and you are putting only your professional life at very center of your life, is it sufficient? Please understand and take the 360-degree view of your own life, your own personality. May I request you, whether you are there as the student who is going to plan his career, or whether you are the parent, a very caring parent who wants their child to prosper in their life, to become successful and gain the satisfaction in life. Three important things you should understand. First, skill fitness. Second, cultural fitness. And third, very importantly, the center, that is your personality fitness. Am I right? Is it easy way to understand? Because Dr. Vishal is going to explain you all about skill fitness. Yes, hard work and skills, they go hand in hand. Sometimes you are blessed to have some of the original things about your skills. You can understand that, oh, I can do these things very easily. Say like special ability is well developed in few of you. Sometimes your numerical ability is very well nourished and flourished on its own. But understand that your abilities, your skills, and your interest should match. Yes, it is very important to actually attain the success and satisfaction throughout your life. Career is, yes, important part, profession is important part of your life, but your own personality, your family life, your cultural life, your love life, your marital life is as important as your professional life, and these things are interlinked. You cannot differentiate your professional life from your family life. Yes, it is very important to give importance to all these three fitnesses: skill fitness, personal fitness, and cultural fitness. Why these are important? Let me share with you one example. A person who is really satisfied in his life and successful now at the age of 45. Understand, when he started his journey, he was very much focused on his professional life. His upbringing was like from very low class family. Economically, they were challenged, but his upbringing had the moral and ethical values inculcated. His mother and father blessed him with the high morals. So, along with achieving the financial prosperity, he was aware about his ethics and values. Say he became engineer, then he went out of India, then he attended and done a job, and he earned very financial prosperity and a good cheer up from his higher authorities. Now his personal skills made him aware that his interest lies in doing the business. So he started one business, import and export of mangoes. Oh, and he had gained the experience that even though his interest is there, his abilities are not well developed at that stage. So his business failed. Whatever he actually earned, he has lost it completely at the middle of his life. At the age of 31, he was a married person, but he was a very resilient person. Understand, resilience is a very important part of our personality fitness, so that our well-being is actually maintained. Because of this resilience and because of the values he was nurturing within him, he was able to overcome this part. He again started his job. He now tried to enjoy his job, and then he earned money, and now he is entrepreneur again and working with 4 companies as director. Why I am explaining this life story? Because understand, while planning, we should have one idol in front of us. At least we should have our own personality, our own interests known to us, so that we are aware what we want to achieve in our life. This is very important. Uh, Most of the times when I'm talking with, say, 25 years or 30 years, my best friends, what they say, I don't want to be obeying my higher authorities. They are so orthodox. There is so much communication gap between us. I'm trying to give them respect. I'm trying my work hard, and I'm doing the work they are going to expect from me. But still, they are not happy. Now, may I explain you the importance of intrapersonal intelligence here? Yes, even though if you are employee, or even though if you are entrepreneur, or you are the boss, your intrapersonal intellect is so much important. See, if you are obeying someone as a higher authority and you are feeling low that, oh, I'm not enjoying this because that person is, I'm much more worth than him. If this feeling is within us for more than 6 months, actually you are building the stress. And that's why this generation is going in stressful ways, because they are taking efforts, they are not enjoying their work. And what is the result? The building of stress more than 2 years, leading to diabetes, hypertension, cholesterol values, a bit chaos in your lifestyles. So this, to compensate this stress, sometimes what we do, we try to freak out. Again, this freak out is actually going to give you support for say 10 days, 15 days. Entertainment is going to help you for say 1 month. But if you don't want to be fit in your cultural fitness, then how you are going to sustain? Because humans are social animals. Yes, it is interaction, it is sharing, it is connection, it is communication. And I'm so happy to share with you. I really respect this new generation. They are so broad-minded. One of my this best friend told me, you know, ma'am, one of my colleague is gay, and my boss is so much furious about this thing. What is the big deal? It is his personal life. If he's doing the work at the office, why you are interfering with his personal life? Wow, hats off to this broad-mindedness. This is interpersonal and intrapersonal intelligence. What is the big deal? Now, um, please see and introspect your second part of coin. The same person was having some emotional instability. He was actually lagging in positive affectivity in his personal fitness. Why? Because his mother, according to him, his mother is very orthodox. She is not accepting intercaste marriages and you know good relationship in office and all that. Okay, if about being a colleague and his personal life, even though he is having some infective diseases like HIV or being a gay, there is no big deal. Then if your mother is bit orthodox, what is the big deal? Yeah, same way apply it at your home level, fine. If you accept at first level, it is no big deal, then this acceptance leads to better communication between two humans, irrespective of your relation, irrespective of the gender, irrespective of generation gap. First thing, acceptance. So your cultural fitness, your personal fitness matters a lot in your professional life, very much, because let's understand, it's so simple. See, you are a leader, okay? Being a leader means you have to accept and understand all the people around you, whether they are your colleagues, whether they are your higher authorities, whether they are working under you, and you have to actually lead them towards your own prosperity, satisfaction, and their own prosperity and satisfaction. So, in a professional life, whether you are a higher authority or whether you are obeying the others or whether you are communicating with others. This is a circle, very simple. And very importantly, your upbringing at home helps you. You are dealing with your relatives, your parents, with your friends, with your colleagues, helps you to practice and acquire these all cultural fitness skills in your professional life. So don't make these two things apart as a watertight compartment. They are gelled together. Your attitude matters a lot in your professional life. Understand, if your interest and your abilities and your attitude matches, then it is easy to go for hard work. You will never complain about your hard work because you don't feel it. This is interesting, right? This is the crux. This is the crux of becoming healthy and wealthy. So career, attitude, upbringing, emotions, the whole part of personal fitness, skill fitness, and cultural fitness. This is the overall view. So these are very simple and fundamentals. I will just complete this part. One example, I know a very good friend of mine. He is now running 40. He is a researcher, and he said, I want to achieve the satisfaction of innovating something very different thing, but to help my family, to do my duties and my livelihood, I should be very much independent. Even though I will not attain the financial prosperity, but I will be independent. I don't want to depend on my father because he has given me whatever he has earned. That is a blessing from him, but I want to be independent. So what he has done, he was doing a job, and after attending some of the economical stability, he said to his founders, thank you very much, it was very good being with you. Now I am going to quit the job and I am going to focus on my research. You know, this person has got his passion, his hardworking, and his cultural fitness so much so at his optimum level that his founders requested him not to quit, but be a part of our own company and start your research lab. These are the achievements. To be very clear about our own expectations, our abilities, our interests, our passions, and our fitnesses. So in a whole, if you understand yourself, and as a parent, if you want to help your kid, make them understand their own goals and help them with your support of love and care. So Dr. Vishal now.
So we're going to understand the steps in career planning now. And interestingly, if you've set the goals, set the fundamentals right, there are 5 steps to be focused on. Very quickly running through the 5 steps so that we can focus on the last step, which has an immense value to add to your planning thing. And the first step. The first step is identifying your own abilities and interests. This is self-assessment. Dr. Gupta pointed out that you must know your fitness levels, you must know your fitness areas. And this is one of the important things that you must focus upon. The self-assessment evaluates your own ways, in your own way, or maybe to support of certain assessment methods, your abilities and interests. Classically speaking, there are specific abilities that you must know in terms of your vocational building. There are close to 7 to 8 abilities that you must know specifically in terms of how you choose your career. If you are able to configure or understand the specific areas that you excel into, that becomes the first step in advancement of your career. So these areas are what roughly I can enlist those sequentially. One is your verbal ability, second is your numerical ability, third is your reasoning ability, fourth is closure ability, fifth is clerical ability, sixth is mechanical ability, and seventh is your spatial ability. So these seven abilities are fundamental to your set of aptitudes that you demonstrate while pursuing any or whichever career that you are going through. So knowing the scores in this ability is an important aspect. Then my voice is not clear. Someone is asking, your voice is not clear. Am I audible to everybody? Yeah. Sorry if there is disturbances, but you'll be able to see if the network is clear. You'll be able to focus more on this. My voice is echoing. Someone said, fine. Now it's okay. I've adjusted to the technical. Yeah. So then comes the important aspect of interest. You must always have known certain important areas of vocations, and they are classified very classically by Holland. Holland was a researcher into vocational personality types, and vocational personality types. It's muted. Vocational personality types are typically relating to your personalities into various aspects of your persuasion in vocations. For example, it relates to occupations like scientific endeavors, like economics and commerce, like artistic endeavors, like realistic endeavors, conventional occupations, sports, humanities, social sciences, and agriculture or farming. All these personality vocational types, and together with your abilities, will be a founding blocks for your advancement of planning your career. So if you know your abilities, if you know your interest, the next step comes into the picture is exploring the career options. There are thousands and thousands of career options. A lot of us are not aware of what leads where. Interestingly, your education and your talent are two different things. Your groomed, the previous slide highlighted that educational attainment leads to financial prosperity. That means you must be able to differentiate between three things. One, your literacy. Second, your education. And third, your talent. Your literacy is knowing how to read and write. That's the basic part of literacy. Literacy that does not mean education. You may be illiterate, but you may be educated. That is important aspect. So you have immense examples in history where you find people who are educated enough, who are learned enough, but they're not literary. They're not qualified literary in terms of reading and writing. So understanding that facet of life, education has to do with your more of a skill sets, more of a knowledge base, more of a experience kind of thing. Whereas talent is a little more specific to your personal, competency. So education-based career will give you a foundation into degrees, and your degrees will lead you to a better prospect in terms of your, seeking jobs and maybe starting your own enterprise. But your talent also is an important facet. So talent leads you to, again, the similar friction or similar fruits, provided it takes a little more time for recognition. So education gives you a one-way, a very strong impulse or very strong velocity in terms of advancement of your career, but it has to do with your selection of right career option. So while you're doing that, you must understand that choosing a right degree, choosing a right college, choosing a right profession becomes an integral part of your entire career planning. So while knowing your abilities and interest, you will be able to explore various career options available, and this you'll need help for. there are two ways of doing it. One is you doing your own research, engaging with various avenues available on internet and Google for understanding the various career options, and then matching your abilities and interest with your career options and finding a right way ahead. The finding the right way ahead is the third step. The second option that you can do is seek a professional help with a counselor, with a career expert. When you go to the third step, that you narrow down to the career options, and typically we would encourage to have a plan A, B, and C. Plan A is your topmost priority, which should be infallible in idealistic case scenarios, but you must be able to also back up your plan A with plan B and plan C. And that is important from the perspective that if at all in unprecedented situations your plan A does not work out, you will be able to rely on your plan B, which is already made up, or maybe plan C for that matter. So zeroing down on something very interesting career options and listing them down in plan A, B, C is an important aspect. The third step. Then decide the best option. And this selection of this best option should entirely be done by the student with informed way. Mind you, willingly going into some profession makes an immense difference in your entire career all through your life. Going with a forceful decision does not help you to cherish, enjoy the beauty of that profession. Every profession has got its own beauty and its own very interesting things. You must only choose what matches yours. If you think that something is matching you and you are making that decision based on your abilities and interests and the occupation that brings to you something very encouraging, then it is a very informed decision. This is the fourth step. Then comes the next, and that is setting a career goal. This step we need to elaborate a little more, and let's go to the next step. And the next step understands what is goal setting and what things to consider for that. So goal setting is a very, very important thing. Think of a four-wheel drive, a car with a four-wheel drive. How a goal is. So goal is like the front wheels of the four-wheel drive. It pulls you towards it. It has got a strong affinity of pulling you towards it. That is a goal. While the rear wheels, which are the pushing factors to the vehicle, are your motivation, your self-motivation, your inspiration, your perspiration, and everything relating to what you're doing. It pushes you. One thing pull you, and the other thing pulls you. Imagine if you don't have a goal. If you don't have a goal, if you don't set a goal, there will be, if you're well inspired, if you're motivated, there'll be a rear wheel which will be pushing you, but the force will be lessened because your front wheels will not have power of pull.
Great.
Understand, having a goal doubles your velocity, doubles your acceleration to reach towards a destination. So mind you, keep a goal. So while keeping a goal, it should be SMART. You can see on the screen, this is an acronym for SMART, which says it should be specific, very, very specific. You must define what you want. I want to be a civil engineer in 2025. Yes, that's it. That should be such specific. I want to be say a psychologist by 2024. This specific. If you see this specificity coming to you, you've already marked where you have to reach. This gives you an advancement, an advantage of navigation. It's like going into a sea with a compass. You are not lost. If you're going into a sea without a compass, you're lost. So direction is important, and this specificity gives you a direction. The second thing is measurable. Measurable in the sense I said in the first sentence itself. When, where, what. I'll be getting my master's say my bachelor's of engineering in civil engineering in 2025, in 2025, measurable. What? Bachelor's of civil engineering, measurable. And that is the purpose. It should be measurable. You should be able to quantify it. Quantification in terms of time, in terms of achievement, in terms of attainment. So measure it. The indicators are quite obvious in that case. And then comes attainable. Attainable is, am I capable to reach there? If someone says, I want to go to NASA, and in a very this can be a very good aspiration, but do not couple it with hard work or maybe your ability. Then believe me, this is you're deceiving yourself in this context. You're not putting yourself in a very achievable or attainable goal. The goal should be attainable. If you still want to pursue going into some very strong space agency and you still lack some abilities, then you must have that capability to build those capabilities in a particular time frame, and that is where this is important. And then comes the next thing, that is relevance. Is it relevant to my context? Is it relevant that I set a goal which is more relevant to my choice, more relevant to my abilities and interests, as I've said earlier. So it's established that relevance, and the next thing comes is time bound. So getting into a time bound way of achieving your goal makes it more practical and more pragmatic. So that's the thing. And then the 3 P's: plan, persevere, perspire. Once your plan is ready, once you have known things what to do, perspire. Perspire in the sense, do your hard work. And then persevere. Persevere in the stick to the path that you are going into. One thing I'll tell you, hard work always has a very strong precedent of enhancing your skills or your outcome in the next setting. So in a particular setting, if you do something which your parents encourage you while saying that you've done a lot of hard work, the next time you go around and you do the next thing with a lot of better outcome. But if your parents, this is for parents again, if for teachers again, if the parents and teachers say that you're brilliant, you're intelligent, and this is what you're born with, then the ability of the student to reciprocate or maybe replicate the same phenomena again depletes, it comes down. So while you're encouraging the student or your children, you encourage their hard work, not their brilliance. Brilliance, they are there with, it is a part of their being. What you must encourage and appreciate is their hard work, so that a culture of a very strong, as putting your principles and hard work into place is executed. So that is most important thing. Having said that, some of the behavioral challenges that may come up in these next 2-3 years of your career planning, how to overcome those challenges, let us understand from Dr. Gupta.
Okay, so now
you have understood the skill fitness and most of the time part of personal fitness. But being with each other in a profession, it is a cultural fitness, right? Even though you are working as a sole person, solo part, again, you have to deal with the persons. If you are choosing the career of hospitality and tourism, if you want to become a chef, that is a great thing. This generation is so innovative and they are actually so open to touch so many horizons of this part that they are ready to understand. I'm so happy for you that you are ready to achieve your goals. But may I request again at this part, be very clear on what part you are focusing. What is the base of your goal? Okay? Understand? One of my very cute friends said, he said, I just don't want to become doctor, I said, okay, it's fine. But why to start with no? Why not to say I want to become engineer, or why not to just become collector? Why you are saying I don't want to become doctor? This is your goal. It's absolutely fine, dear. But what is the base of that? And why you are saying? He said, yeah, my mother and father, they are working so hard becoming a doctor, and they don't give any time for us, me and my little sister. So I will not do this mistake in my life. I will not become doctor. So this is not the goal. This is just the perception which is halfway, half-baked. If you try to communicate positively with your parents and understand their situation, their life setups, and why they have why they are unable to give the time, then this positive communication will change the base of your goal. Very importantly, now the other person, and this my very bold and beautiful friend, she's 14 years old, and she says, I want to pursue my career in acting. I said, well said. Why? She said, it feels so good to be loved by so many, and they actually idolize you, they know you, they cheer for you, they talk about you. Okay, I said, this is best. Now, this goal is best just on half part of understanding. Because this bold and beautiful girl, she said, you know, I just want to live my life at peace. Hard work is not cup of my tea. So acting is very good. Go there, shoot there for 4 hours and come back. And her mother and father, they are very cooperative with her, and they said, fine. But we are unable to make her understand that this is not part of your interest and abilities. You are just attracted there. What was the solution? With her due respect to her dreams, it was not a vision, it was a dream. With a care and love from her parents and the expertise, we actually taken this girl at the set, where the actor and the actresses were shooting for only one stanza of their song, Running in the Rain. And around 15 shots were taken, and for that they both were breathless, completely soaked, and they have to match and actually compensate all these things with their cameramen, their directors, their viewers, and to match that expectation and abilities. And at the end of the shooting, when this girl met both of them, she said, acting is not comfortable. They said, no, this is hard work. Whatever you are actually watching on your screen, behind the screen, the part is different. So understand, while setting the goals in any field, understand what are the things you are perceiving and what are the things beyond your own perceptions. So these emotional behavioral challenges shouldn't be part of deciding your goals, base of your goals. And to deal with these, you should have short-term goals and long-term goals by both of you, by the person who is actually deciding the part and path of his life, and the parents and the teachers who are there to actually channelize their thoughts, to understand their personalities and their plannings. So very importantly, love, care, respect, positive communication, discipline, hard work, and goal setting on a right base. These are really important factors. And let me share with you, for your long-term goals, yes, your ethics, your values are really very important. Say for your personal fitness, for your health as well, gratitudes. When you feel gratitude, when you feel some sacrifice you have done and that joy, this set the right neurochemicals in your body. They set the right hormonal balance in your body. Your intracellular intelligence is also set at very tuned level. You are balanced. So while setting your long-term goals, please understand nowadays, even all the big companies, all the labs, they are looking for the person who is loyal, who is honest, who can understand the responsibility and the ownership. These values are really important, not for our own employability or being a successful entrepreneur, but to become the personally fit, culturally fit, and to attain the satisfaction in your life. These long-term goals should include your values, your ethics, because nowadays they are the part of your employability tests. So just to pass on the test, it is not the part, but to accept that these are the integral part of our own attitude, our own personality, so that we are not deceiving others, we are deceiving ourselves. Very simply, I'm telling these things. Why? In spite of making them a bit complicated and using the hard words, I'm making these things simple, but these apparently simple and small things matter a lot in your day-to-day life and your actually complete life journey. So short-term goals, they are not daily course only, but they are the long-term goals which actually deals with your planning, with perspective of your life.
We'll answer the questions.
So next part, Dr. Vishal will be taking care of.
So we are coming to the next important aspect. What are the 3 outcomes of successful career? And then we'll address the questions that students have posted on the question answer tab. So the 3 outcomes of a successful career. Am I audible to everybody? Yeah, just a minute. So the outcome of successful careers are like, first thing, satisfaction, happiness. Yes, you should be satisfied. You should be always cherishing what you've chosen. Second, you must have some dignity into it. Now, dignity of labor is an important aspect. It is not that some work is low in dignity or high in dignity. You must find the dignity. It can be, you can be a maybe a small time cab driver, but if you find that dignity into it, it is up to you. So that dignity you must be able to find with satisfaction. And the third thing is you must be able to earn out of it. That's livelihood. No career is divide. So it's a divide of what the outcome, the third outcome, that is livelihood. If your livelihood is sustainable with your career, that becomes a very, very successful career. Having said that, let us go to some of the questions that my fellow students and parents have asked. So yes, one of the questions that Pehal Porwal has asked is about how can I study for long hours? So it's interesting to understand how much long hours. So I would say that studying for long hours should be in concurrence whether you are able to focus and concentrate on your studies and actually gain or retain the things that you're studying. So don't have the proportionality of your outcome of your studies with how many hours you have studied. Rather, the quality has to be measured. One interesting thing that you must notice in terms of attention or concentration, and that is your concentration span is not beyond 12 to 15 minutes in any case scenario. So your concentration, if this is the state of your concentration, you must be able to go back and come again into the task you're doing. So going back is a distraction that happens, which happens every, either maximum limit for that is 12 to 15 minutes. So if you're looking at a study time, ideally the study time should be divided into 2 or 3 sittings with 1 and 1.5 hour of concentration, full concentration at any given time. So that becomes an easy part and effective part of doing with long hour of studies.
And for long hours of studies, yes, take care of your hydration along with the electrolytes. Yes, it is very important. So fruit juices, sherbets, they are really good. And very importantly, don't go for fried food or fast food, because the blood circulation will be actually then going towards your GI tract and to churn all these things and peristalsis. So it may actually lead to some drowsiness. So eat light, simple carbohydrate food like puffs.
Okay. The next question is asked by Vidhi, and she's asking, where can I find the best universities for aviation or aeronautical engineering? Vidhi, it is interesting that you've got a very strong inclination towards aviation and aeronautics. And I can assure you that there are hundreds of universities and colleges offering this kind of course curriculum or maybe degrees across the globe. Most of them in India, if you find, there are lot many universities offering this, private and state both, and they are very good at it. So if you want to really get into the top 10 or top 5 or top 15 universities in offering aviation and aeronautical engineering, you need to first understand what you're looking forward in terms of aviation. If you're looking for a design type of career or a flying type of career, or maybe a mechanical engineering type of career, then a degree into mechanical engineering or maybe a design engineering will also help you to go into aviation industry. So as far as you take into consideration finalizing what you need to go for, that is the first step that you must take for. Then universities and colleges becomes an important aspect when you have found that this is what I have to do in my life, the purpose that I've said earlier. So if you're ready to go into the flying career, then the universities differ. If you're ready to go into manufacturing career, then the universities differ. So that is where you need to strike balance. All in all, we'll be able to guide you this in a very personal manner, taking you to various courses. It's an exhaustive list that can be, I can hand you over the handbook entirely for getting into the best universities. I hope that satisfies your answer. Ruchir has asked 2 questions. One is like, where can be the post-graduation or MBA in tourism and hospitality management done? And the next question is, which other courses can be done for career in an airline company, or how are the prospects? As I said, both these areas, no areas has got low prospect, mind you. The prospects in terms of business or maybe job growth or growth in terms of year-on-year measures, it is very good in these 2 industries, tourism especially. Now in these current times, it has taken a hit because of the current pandemic, but in long run, it has an immense value. As far as your question on airline company or maybe the prospect in it is concerned, it has a very good prospect. Again, I say the current times, next 6 months or so, or maybe next year or so, these all industries have taken a bad hit, and it will take a while for them to recover from this problem. But in the long run, these are very, very good industries to pursue career into. The next question was by Aditya, and he's asking about, is not okay to make your passion your profession? Should we really choose being an engineer or doctor just because it makes us financially more stable, even when we have passion for something else which drives us to for a better at every day? Very, very important question from the perspective of every student or every parent as well. We should not end up being into a rat race for getting into engineering or a medical college. The reason is far more hidden in your own question itself, Aditya. It says your passion and profession. If your passion becomes your profession, believe me, you are one of the most happy person in this on this planet. You must be able to channelize your passion into your profession. And mind you, in the current situation, in the current scenarios, in the world that we're living now, it is quite possible to attain the professional benefits out of your passion. And it may take certain time for the world to recognize your talent, but it has to do again with your, again, what I can say is your satisfaction and dignity. But I'll also be able to attract your focus on the third prospect, and that is livelihood. You will soon be getting this understanding that livelihood also is an integral part. You may not continue with your passion if you are hungry. Your hunger must be satisfied. Keep
and
this in mind.
Self-respect is also important.
Yeah. So
you should earn your own livelihood.
Yeah. So while you are earning your own livelihood with your passion, you, again, I say, you will be the most happy person on this planet. So yes, becoming financially stable is one of the important aspect. I don't say it is the entire of the aspect of your career planning, but it should be considered. I keep this in mind. No one, if you are more idealistic in your view that I will be able to go ahead in my passion without looking for a livelihood into it, you may soon be disillusioned that livelihood or maybe sustaining your life on your own is an important aspect which transgresses your day-to-day passion towards things. The time will come that this becomes an important, the forerunner of your priorities. Hence, a balance is required, and keeping this balance in mind is very important. Yes, the next question is by Parth. Parth is asking, could you talk about the fields of nutrition and health? Maybe there are various fields. My colleague is a nutritionist, Dr. Uta Sagarkar. There are various fields like dietetics, which offer you careers into nutrition, and you may land up into as a nutritional or maybe dietitian in companies like which are manufacturing health product or maybe edible products like Nestle, like Britannia, like certain other manufacturing companies. But
sports also, nutrition is
yeah, and nutrition becomes an important aspect from the sports arena as well, as Dr. Ruta rightly said. So if you see the institutions offering programs in this offer normally in terms of BSc BSc into dietetics or BSc into nutrition, then you can qualify for a master's program into dietetics and nutrition. And this is a very good area as far as the job prospect is concerned. And the second thing is you can also start your own private practice into diet and nutrition, which is a good thing.
I think double degree is also very good, becoming a doctor and then going for a nutritional career.
Yeah. Yeah. So getting into healthcare and then entering into a diet and nutrition industry, that also makes sense. Manas has asked, I just gave my 10th board, so is it the right time when I should choose my career? Yes, absolutely. In fact, you must start planning your career. Those who are there, who are into 8th standard, start planning your career. No time is late. You're still in a right position or age to plan your career, Manas. Go ahead. This is the right way. You must fix your goal as of now, immediately.
Oh, Alisha, they was pursuing economics.
Yeah, I'm going to answer all of those. So Pehel has asked, again, one more question, how to remember things when we have already learned earlier. So there are different ways and methods to enhance your memory. I'm going to do one thing. I would be sending you certain tools in your email after this webinar to practice your memory enhancement. This can be as simple as like a dual and back game, or having been able to get rid of your mental clutter, or maybe clutter into your working memory. And how to do that, I'm going to send you an emailer for that, because it's a technique which is not part of today's session. I'll be able to showcase all these things in your email once I'll be able to finish this webinar.
But we shall just share one anchoring part within 2 minutes.
Okay.
Studying.
Yeah. So enhancing your memory is like, memory has got to do with your recall. So recall depends. It can be initiated through a simple technique. While you're studying, people have, or students have this tendency to fidget with things, to do certain notions with their hands, or maybe face, or maybe gestures to their while studying. These are the triggers or anchors for recall. While again delivering into examinations, if they do the same thing, they are able to recall the learned things, and this is specifically called anchor. I may not able to demonstrate it right now. What we'll do is I'm definitely going to send you an email regarding the memory building technique. Ovi has asked, what should Generation Z or following generations specifically keep in mind when building their career? What is an exclusion different to their times with respect to career? A very good question, Gen Z. So Generation Z has got an exclusive thing, and different thing, I believe, to them is their propensity to make an impact in the world they are into. They have an immense urge. They want to make some impact on the world that they are living into. They're blessed with immense resources. None other generation in the past has been so blessed with all the resources they've got. And an inequality of this generation is they're impatient. They have this here and now thing. They will want everything now, here. So this is a quality which can be looked from both perspectives. A thing to be nurtured, or a thing to be upgraded in patience. So mind you, this is important thing. One important thing again for their career, for their entire generation, which is they must look into specific thing, is like their judgment. The judgment for them in this information explosion time is a little difficult. So you must always seek help from wise people as your parents and teachers to help you navigate through your career. So best thing that you can specifically focus on building your career is talking to your parents first, talking aloud about your aspirations, about your dreams, about your goals. However disarray they are into initially, they will fall in line once you start communicating with someone. So communication is an important thing. Don't break the chain of communication. This single thing will help you to build a more clarity in your entire progress in career planning. Yes. The next question from Alicia. Alicia says, I'm interested in pursuing economics with maths as a career, but I haven't really been able to get a clear view on of the future in it. How would you be able to in this approach? Yeah. Alicia, economics is really one thing that drives the world. You may be surprised to this notion that the drivers who drive this world are not the people from science, the people from economics and commerce. So in terms of you pursuing economics becomes a very important thing for all the generation to understand that economics also has a very good career prospect. Like for example, you entering into some of the core field of economics like behavioral economics, like global economics, like economics pertaining to certain regions, or maybe economic philosophies, or maybe models of economics will help in building not only small business units as you go into the consultation for them, but it also has an immense way of helping a state or a nation to build their economic policies. So governmental or otherwise, both sectors have got the value that economics brings to them. So this this will be helpful for you. But once you go into the undergraduate program into economics, you should always look for a postgraduate program which will help you to build your niche, or you say specialty areas into economics. And I believe it is one of the important sectors that is most often overlooked. So if you're looking seriously into pursuing economics, go ahead. It has got a very good prospect. The next question is by, there's a huge list of questions, I believe. There are more than 43 questions that are there. I've already answered 9, so the list has got crossed 50, and we're almost, we've crossed 1 hour. I believe I'll be answering few more questions, and I'll answer to all the questions of all the students and parents personally through an email after this session, because it will take another couple of hours if I go through entire questions. So but Bashishta has asked, I am in 10th now. There is a lot of pressure that is at the base of your career. Does it really affect? So, Bashishta, keeping one thing in mind, that do not go for any kind of, pressure mountings from your parents or your peers or your teachers. You must be able to understand that the realistic aspirations of your parents, peers, and teachers has to be balanced with your abilities and interest. So yes, there is an your mounting of pressure really affects your clarity of thought while you are dealing with your career planning. So reducing the or managing the stress or pressure is a key to see clearly into your future and to your career. You want to comment? Yeah. So next question is how to focus. Good. Yeah, I've said earlier that working memory technique will be able to, you'll be able to learn through this working memory technique, a dual and back game that I'm going to mail to everybody. The quality to focus has to gain through this technique. And just understand the key to focus is your attention. Your attention with its innate ability, information attracts all the attention of yours. So focus has to do with information. So limiting yourself, if you're focusing on a particular task, do not build a lot of information coming from different senses to your being, so that your focus remains intact. So that is an important aspect that you must focus right now on. Abhay has asked, sir, I am confused regarding 2 career choice. One is my talent and vision, and the other one is which people often have said me to pursue cause of my capability. Both are equally promising and time taking. Which should one I pursue in my career? This is very important again. And this has got to say about your clarity of thinking as well, Abhay. Congratulations for that. So if your confusion pertains to your talent and vision, if it is your passion, and vis-a-vis your capability, you must choose your talent and vision. Your capability, I can talk about it in a very simple manner. That capability can be built over a period of time in any discipline if you are passionate enough in that discipline. So if you are looking forward to a career based upon your vision, talent, and passion, believe me, pursue that. Do not engage into untoward confusion between, like, I have to do I have a lot of capabilities in all the areas, what to do. So focus on your passion, focus on your vision. That is more important. Yes. Ruchi has asked, how can I stop procrastinating? So this is important. Again, a lot of students, not only students, a lot of grown-ups also face this problem of procrastination. The best way to avoid procrastination is getting into action. So getting into action requires 10 seconds of insane courage. If you decide on something, just rise yourself, be onto your foot and start doing it. In the words of Dohas of Kabir, it says, Kal kare so aaj kare so abhi. That is the crux of it. When you decide, do not lose. And it takes, I tell you, a 10 to 20 seconds of upliftment or courage to break the barrier of procrastination, not more than that. Yeah.
Actually, when you decide to do and when there is a need, okay, and at that time, if you do the things, they are very powerful. They have got the very best success because your mind and body are ready. Okay, your hormones, even your adrenaline, it is just at the par level, at the optimum level. So you can achieve the goal within very short period and with a complete success. But if you procrastinate, what happens is there may settle lethargy, laziness, guilt, and all these chemicals. They are really burden on your body and mind, and they not only decrease the quality of your work, but even the results are not at the optimum. So procrastination is best if you understand, oh, I'm procrastinating. Wow, this is good. Now next thing, what I will do is right time, right management and action.
So I'm going to take next 3 or 4 questions, and they're going to, I'm going to answer rest of the questions in, in your email. One of the questions is from Karthikeya. He says, I have a question. I want to go to NDA, but I'm confused that before going to NDA, which backup plan or which degree to take. Karthikeya, going to NDA, you must be able to graduate at the first place. So you must be able to complete your 12th grade at the first place. So while going into NDA, you get a graduation degree there in either of the disciplines, arts, commerce, or science. And you graduate as a lieutenant from there, and you are recruited into the army. Now, important thing here is while going into NDA, if you are really aspiring to join Army, Air Force, or Navy, there are various entry schemes. One is after your 12th through NDA. If not, you can go for an engineering program or any graduate program, where after that you'll be able to again have an opportunity to join the Army through a combined defense services entry, which is CDS, which is after the graduation. And if you are into a technical program like engineering, you'll have an opportunity to get into the Army or Air Force through a technical entry scheme. So if you have missed going into NDA after your 12th, do not worry. You have the entry levels after your 12th into your graduation, after your graduation, like CDS, combined defense services, or the lateral entry schemes from your technical course. That is a good thing. So the backup thing you need to do is having a strong degree in terms of graduation like engineering, or graduation in terms of science like BSc or something like that. Next question is from Kshitij. Kshitij says, sir, I'm studying in India, or is studying in India or abroad better for a person in science stream? So education has really become a global phenomena. The boundary lines between countries are missing. It has coalesced, and I'll tell you, there are premier institutions in India which has to do a lot more with engaging in scientific endeavors. For example, getting into an MIT, Massachusetts, the MIT Boston, is far more easy than getting into any of the IITs as of now. This is not because the level of competence, but the level of competition that is there in our country. So I'll believe that India has also got pioneering institutions in terms of science. If you pursue, you can definitely look for IITs, ISIS, or NITs, and these are collectively in tune of more than 50 or 60 numbers. So all these have got more than 10 to 20,000 of capacities of undergraduate students that they can accommodate. So believe me, as far as you can start your career into science into India, and then look for a postgraduate program abroad. Yes, Kshitij, this was for you. The last question that I'm going to answer is, what is the best study time? The best study time to everybody is early in the morning.
Please respect your circadian rhythm. It is really, really, really important for your body, mind, and intellect.
The best thing that you can do to yourself is start sleeping early and rise early, so that you have better grasping power, better retention, better focus, and better ability to complete tasks early in the morning. Research has evidently showcased the ability of people quite higher in their tasks and maybe their job when they rise early in the morning, including all the successful people across the globe which are running most strong conglomerates or companies. So mind you, morning time is one of the best times to study.
For your long-term and short-term memory as well, morning hours are best.
So I'm going to answer all of your questions. We are already past 1 hour 15 minutes. I'm going to answer rest of the 46 questions by email through everybody. If not, I'm going to personally call them to answer their questions. Hope this entire webinar for you was a good insight into your understanding of planning your career. A lot of things, questions comes here with a personal understanding. So let us take this a step further in making you address your personal challenges in a personal way. Thank you everybody for being with us. I believe Brainberg in some way will be able to aid your journey in your career planning. Thank you.
Best of luck so that your dreams actually can get converted into visions. Dhanyavad.
Thank you. Thank you.